Hello and welcome to Paris Set Me Free, Paris Photo Tutorials. Now, it's time to take a little trip to one of the darker sides of Paris again. First of all, tell me which of these photographs you like best. There's this one, there's this one, and there's this one. This one, or this one, or this one. Alright, well let me take you off to where we're going. And as is often the case, some of the less touristy sites are found around the périphérique, which is this ring road that goes around Paris. And if you look down here, this area is called the 20th arrondissement. Paris is divided roughly into, well, it's divided exactly into 20 arrondissements, which are districts. You can see the numbers, and it goes in a snail form. Look, it goes all based around one of the islands. Look, it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and now from 12 and 13 they go right the way out to the edge, the périphérique ring road. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 and 20, and today we're in the 20th. Just as a matter of interest, you see it says Gentilly there. I live just on the other side of the périphérique at the moment. So we're going to the 20th. If we click in here, you can see it's I was wandering around a very, very dark area, quite a dark place, up around here. Especially around here, there are some buildings which really you wouldn't want to be found around at night. It wasn't night at that time, but I still felt pretty worried. And it's around about Boulevard Davout that I took these shots. And my question was, which do you prefer? This one, or this one? And let me tell you straight away, without any further ado, that I went for this one. It's too big to fit into my frame, as I want to give you plenty of detail, so there it is. Now, why did I go for this one, you might ask? Well, let's consider the options. In this case, let's look at the first one I took, which was actually this. I threw in some wacky angle. It's such an angle that either I have to display the photograph with the actual real horizon as straight, in which case the photo would be something like this, which is fair enough. I can do it. I have a way of mounting photographs on a piece of black canvas which is upright on the wall, and the photograph at a zappy angle, and I put a little white line around it. So I could do that with this one, but to be honest, the angle's almost too much. It almost looks like she should be going and falling off the left hand side of the picture. This was the next one I took. You can see she's far more upright, but there's a lot of movement there, and she looks like she's about to get out of the photograph. Now, maybe she doesn't want to be photographed. Maybe her hand's up because she's saying, stop photographing me. And also you've got this sort of spooky doll's head down in the bottom left. You had it in this photograph as well. You also had a load of the other paraphernalia that she's selling. And it's quite common of these poorer areas. People just sit down in the street, put a rug out or some sort of cloth, and put all sorts of crap, basically, on them. No, some of it's nice stuff. Maybe it comes from North Africa, you know, cheap leather handbags and jewelry and belts and stuff like that. But sometimes it's absolute crap, you know. I mean, who's going to buy a broken doll's head? But from a photographic point of view, it's absolutely fantastic. In this one, you can see I've used a sort of zooming effect, which means that things towards the extremity of the photograph are really out of focus. But in the final result, that's not so important, because you can bring it back into focus enough that you can see what it is. You can see the absurdity of a doll's head sitting on someone trying to sell it. You know, would you buy a broken doll's head? Here's the final one. The woman's not in it. She's out of there. She obviously didn't like being photographed. Either that or had some other reason. I didn't really zoom, and there's the doll's head. You can see it clearly. But you've lost something important in this photograph. So going back to the one with the woman, compare what she is in the photograph in this one and in this one. Well, the potential in this one is for her to be a far larger part of the photograph. And in fact, even more so than she is here. You can get rid of the top of this van here and focus in on her. You don't want to get rid of the doll's head, because that's one of the things that makes the photograph marvellous. Also is this movement, this pretty chubby lady. Look, she's almost a triangle. If you look there, triangle of a body with this leg sticking out, and we'll look more at the leg later. That's marvellous. Whereas here, as well as the kind of wacky angle, she's not really interacting. She's not showing any sort of pleasure, displeasure. It's pretty anonymous until she realised she didn't want to be photographed. So the final result was this, as the one I chose. I've chopped off the top of the van, which says nothing at all. You can see it's a van. Doubtful that it's her van, based on the type of person you can see she is. She looks like she's actually she looks more like a gypsy than North African, Algerian or something like that, who often do the same sort of thing. And there you can see the colours have brought out the doll's head. You can see it's a doll's head with the white hair, but it's because of the zooming effect and my treatment of the photograph, it just becomes part of this very dynamic composition. The fact that the woman's arm is moving, her head is a blur, looks like, and she's leaning on this arm, it looks like she's about to get up and get out of that photograph. She's leaning towards this edge of the photograph, which is quite symbolic in photographic terms, because if you want to make it look like someone is about to leave the photograph, put them next to the edge in which they're going, and it'll emphasize that fact. So it looks like she's about to go up out of that edge of the photograph, and the zooming effect kind of adds to that. I think it's like there's an urgency to her getting out of there. She's saying whoop, and out of the photograph. One final thing I want to say, or two or three things. One is, look at the leg. This hint of stocking with this kind of, is it laces holding it together? Ever so ethnic, you know. I don't want to sound patronizing or anything, but well, it's let's just say it's a world away from my culture. And yet there are people who do dress like this every day, and why shouldn't they? It's their culture. I dress in my jeans every day. They dress in their typical clothes every day. But to us, as photographers, and as to people with open eyes interested in other cultures, it's great to see it. The long skirt, the long brightly coloured things, there's some sort of headgear or scarf which is bright. I mean, even in their what we might call poverty, they are so much more elegantly dressed than the majority of, well, let's just say me. So much more wonderfully, colourfully dressed than I am, despite the fact that they're living their lives on the streets. I could also say I'm living my life on the street as well, because I spend so much time walking around these very same streets. So there are streets, really. I share these streets with people like this, and you know, for one reason or another, we're kind of street sisters and brothers, as we do what we do in these streets of Paris. I've made the folds in her dress come out by increasing the contrast, and gone a bit crazy on the saturation, because the colours are so rich. It's again a case of trying to bring the photograph back closer to the reality that I saw in front of me, as opposed to the rather weaker reality that my camera caught. It's up to us as photographers. I've said it again, and I'll bore you again in the future, no doubt. It's up to us as creative photographers to decide what we want the image to be. Actually, I haven't said for quite a while that my photographic aim is to make photographic reality halfway between a painting and the reality and a photograph. And I'm really okay, let me start that again, as I'm running out of time. That's why I'm panicking. My aim as a photographer is to make my images halfway between what the cold light of day shows us and a painting, and I think that I've achieved that quite well here. It's almost an abstract composition. Right, well, if YouTube lets me publish this, because it's gone over 10 minutes, this has been Sab, your Paris photographer, reporting for you. Thanks for watching. See a higher quality version on parissetmefree.blogspot.com, and see you back down in the streets sometime soon. Bye bye.
Depuis que je suis à Paris, le jour et la nuit, je suis gris. J'ai compris la douceur de vivre. Je suis fou de joie, je suis ivre. Depuis que je suis à Paris.